It's playtime with the Sleepy Boys.
Don't forget to check out w.gg and use the promo code SleepyBoys for 10% off your order.
Brandon, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, you've just been quiet.
Oh, y'all been going off on your thing, and I don't really have anything to contribute, so...
That's fair. Mark's wrong, it's awesome.
Look, I'm going to take your word more on if a horror film lands, because I've noticed you and I have very similar tastes.
And it's one of those things where, like, he's not wrong, but the thing is, it's an Evil Dead movie. That's why it's like that.
Right.
You know?
Fucking bullshit ass fucking neighbors.
What's
What
going on?
happened?
Are they shooting people?
No, not this time. No, they
that's good.
they have company that came over, I guess, but they've been pounding at their door for like 10 minutes. It's like after a certain
like-
point.
They just didn't answer their door? That's what
it looks
the pounding
like.
is?
Yeah. So their
fucking
friends are still just at the fucking door pounding, and I'm like, at some point you got to understand, like, just fucking stop, man.
Right. Hey, let me ask you guys a question.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. What's up?
I was hanging out with some friends last night, and we were having a conversation, and one of them disagreed with me on this, but I still think I'm right here. If I stay in America for the rest of my life, it's not unlikely that I'll get shot someday. Yes or no?
I would say that depends on where you live.
Also, it depends upon the lifestyle that you're going with.
I honestly just feel like, especially compared to other countries, it's much more likely that I will one day get shot if I live in America.
I still think it depends on where you're living, because, like...
So, here's the thing. So...
I'm pretty negative on America lately, not gonna lie.
That's fair.
I understand. I've gone through my phases. I think...
Was it
here's the
last
thing.
week that 4 kids got shot because they just went to the wrong place?
Look, here's the thing. I think, does America have its issues? Of course, we absolutely do. Every country has their own set of issues. So anything that can happen to you here, sure, maybe they won't happen to you somewhere else, but something else could take its place.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
but
I
like if I go to
greatly
Japan, it's just I got to worry about creepy little Japanese ghosts as opposed to guns.
I don't know how to unpack what you just said because I don't know if you're being racist or not.
Can you be racist against dead people? I don't know.
That's a
Sure,
good
it
question.
depends. Were they of not your color?
No.
Well, then if they're white people, then you're because I'm saying because you're white. If you're saying racist things about, you know.
Either way, the reason I just went with such a
Anyway.
ridiculous one is because I don't know what would be the
You
equivalent
don't-
in Japan, you know?
Well, also because you're not part of that culture, you don't live in a certain part of that country. You have no idea what could happen. So you're very much speaking from your viewpoint and how you perceive things to be.
Yeah.
Which
and I'm
the way
always
that our perceptions versus reality are very different. So it's really easy to get bogged down with what you hear about constantly or
Yeah.
the things that you pay attention to. So for me personally, I don't think, oh boy, I gotta be careful. I hope and I don't think that I'm gonna be shot. Because the people that I'm around with are very cautious and aware of gun safety.
True.
Now, if you're around people that don't know, don't care, or just have a reckless abandon mentality about it, sure, you're gonna encounter, level. Everything's on a sliding scale. Any issue. Here's a great example. I was told when I was younger that drugs were going to be a bigger issue than what they ended up being for me.
Nobody
And
ever gave
quicksand.
me free drugs.
I never was given drugs for free for sure. And I was once I found
And I
out
was
how much
looking.
I wasn't opposed.
Look, the only surefire way to get drugs is go to a party and say you've never tried said drug, and then everyone's going to want you to try it for the first time.
Yeah, but I didn't know
Yeah.
that at the time.
I know.
I just thought
Because he
somebody
wasn't
was
cool.
going to come up to me regardless and be like, "Hey, man, you want to try some pot?" And I'd be
Hey,
like,
man.
"No, I don't do that kind of stuff." And it never happened.
Dare definitely did us dirty, huh?
You want to ride that
did.
ice pony, bro?
You want to take that? You want to take that Silver Sailor all the way through the end of the sunset,
Well, that just sounds like you're going to have sex with an old man.
or get recruited into the military?
Also, yes.
But no, I don't. As far as
I think there are a lot of other things that you need to be worried about more than you need to be worried about getting shot.
Did I do have to worry about
yeah,
this?
with your case right now, I'd be more worried about getting diabetes.
Nexium, I liked that.
No, but I mean, here's the thing: if you go into situations where this is one of those dumb arguments that I always heard when I was younger, and I said that was always stupid. But at the same time, if you put yourself into situations where there's potential for trouble or you're not prepared for it, yes, you're probably going to encounter it a lot easier than, say, so
What he's trying to say is if you get shot, it's 100% your fault.
yeah, you know what? I'm kind of about that.
Really? Because again, those 4 kids just went to the wrong place by
They
accident.
should have known better.
Look, I'm not saying across the board is everything perfect. Look, there is a level of chaos that we have to accept. As being human beings, we are going to enter into a social contract of potential for just chaos. We have no rhyme or reason for why things happen.
It's like a dog chasing cars that you don't know what you're going to do if you ever catch one.
Okay, thank you, Jared. Not Jared, Heath Ledger.
Hey, look, man, you keep bringing up chaos. I'm just...
Here's... I want things to be differently with guns in this country. I'm not saying take them away. I think that's not realistic. I think there needs to be psychological evaluations that are taken into it. I think guns should be treated the same way that a car is treated. You need to renew your license.
Give them to kids at 16 years old.
I mean, isn't the military doing that at 18?
Right.
Brings up a good point.
Also,
But
one of the things my friend brought up, she was like, I mean, look at Australia. They had that big shooting years ago. I was like, Sandy Hook? She's like, yeah. I was like, yes, but then they banned the guns.
But
And
the
it
thing
worked.
the thing
here's the
is,
thing.
it's the same thing as taking away as making drugs illegal.
Australia, right? So, or a more relatable standpoint that I deal with constantly: alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Prohibition was one of the biggest failures in this country's history.
I
put a
know.
lot of
It gave
emphasis
a
on
lot of jobs to Chicago.
Well, it's because it was the first time Chicago had been sober in 100 years.
Mark,
And then they didn't do it
it's-
very good.
The jobs were the mob.
I know. I was kidding.
Oh, okay. I just thought you were done.
No, yes. But, well, no, it's like how after the Irish invented whiskey, no other inventions were created for 200 years in Ireland.
That was a good time. That's true.
Anyways,
Yes, that is very true. That is a very true fact.
So I guess here's my thing, Jeff. While I understand your frustrations with things, I do think with that mentality, you're straying to, and I do say this as someone that dabbles in this quite a bit, and I always call myself I think you're getting too much into nihilistic thought. And I do say that as somebody that considers himself a playful nihilist. I think things have the potential to change. This country has always been a country of change. does that mean that we do things perfectly? No, we have a long way to go, and a lot of things that have been issues for a long time.
I mean, good God,
But-
it feels like we are just going, not just going, like running backwards nowadays, you know?
It does feel that way, but I will say, as someone that does take a lot of time studying history, and this is not new. We've gone
No,
through this.
not at all.
It's
Oh,
the
Star
first.
Wars,
Because
though.
here's the thing, we are also saying it feels like we've been going through this massive change from our perspective, while there are people on the right that have seen it the other way for the longest time. It's like we've never gone this far left, and it just feels like it's a never-ending cycle. And the thing is about this country, that is a continuous thought that is perpetuated throughout our history.
Did you hear the shit with the, was it you I was talking to about the Montana
Yes.
lawmaker? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, did you hear about that? A trans woman in Montana's Senate
It's insane.
was voting on a trans bill. She said something along the lines of like, if this passes, you will have blood on your hands. So they censored her, and they're like, you need to apologize. What you said isn't okay. And she said no. So they banned her from being allowed to talk anymore. When she appealed that, a bunch of people that were obviously, against her getting banned, went to the floor of the House as a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
So they turned off her fucking microphone so she couldn't speak anymore.
I did not hear about that.
This was last week. And yeah, that's just what they're doing now. Yeah. But then Brandon told me something that made me very happy. Brandon?
Yes.
What was
So
the thing you
here's
said
the
again?
thing. I'm trying to remember if it was Montana, but I do know it was a Republican-led state. There are many, but
There's a few.
I believe it was Montana. I may be incorrect. I'm not claiming to be infallible by any means. But there was the lawmakers that were incensed during Obama's presidency that did not like or support Obamacare or what they were trying to do with healthcare. So
I
they
honestly thought you were just about to say did not like or support black people, which I mean wouldn't have been too far off either.
Look, that is true for a lot of, not a lot, but a handful. But a
More
noticeable,
Trump Republicans than Republicans.
a noticeable amount of people
Right.
that were just not supportive because of racism. But anyways, these Republican lawmakers were incensed and did not like what they were Obamacare was attempting to do, and put into law for their state. I believe it was Montana. I could be incorrect, and if I am, I'm terribly sorry. But put into law that said that the government could not dictate, or essentially, I'm not using actual legal terms that was in the law that they passed, but essentially paraphrasing, but said essentially that the government couldn't tell you, or at least federal government couldn't tell you that you had to do things a certain way. I think it was just government in general, because it was state law. Said that government couldn't dictate what you do with your health care. Because at this point, there was a lot of misnomers and a lot of uncertainty of what Obamacare was going to include. And a lot of people were speculating, freaking out. And I do say this as somebody that when this stuff was going about, I mean, I was still in high school, or at least I was in freshman year of college. I still was very much considered myself a Republican. And I also did not like what Obamacare was trying to do at the time. And, we're all allowed to make mistakes and are misguided
Absolutely.
at different points in our lives. But so, anyways, these lawmakers decided they're like, you know what, we're going to put into law that Obamacare will be completely useless because citizens should not be forced to choose what they do with their health care, which at the time was radical right wing, just crazy that they like, wow, isn't it crazy that they're fighting against these leftist like healthcare things? It's wild. And then we fast forward to now, when the federal government, or just government in general, is very much trying to figure out where we're going with women's health care, which, apart from everything that we've dealt with, is still mind-boggling that we're still dealing with. Seems very cut and dry from a
they're not allowed to have
logistical standpoint. Right, sure. But so
I don't get how these broads don't get
the
this.
same state, which I believe is Montana, once again, could be wrong. Could be a different state, but I believe it's Montana. Was trying to fight and say like, oh, well, women can get abortions and do stuff. And then the Supreme Court and several other judges from the lower courts, upon reading the law that they had passed during the time of Obamacare, straight up were like, well, the section of this law that you guys passed back here says you can't do that. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, oh, well, you wrote several years ago that this law that you passed says that a government can't have any say, it shouldn't have any say in private matters as far as healthcare is concerned. And this is very much a healthcare issue. And so essentially they were told, they're like, well, can't ban abortions because that's healthcare related.
They fucking played themselves, the morons.
They dumb played themselves.
They fucked around and found out.
From themselves, which is
right,
beautiful. I love karma.
It's just chef's kiss.
Yeah. Now, granted, like, but I forget, how did we even get here? This multiple times where y'all have got me on tangents, and I forget how we even got to where we're at.
Gun thing.
Jeff's gonna get shot. Brandon?
What's up?
That's
I didn't know if you were done talking.
Oh, yeah, with the whole Jeff getting shot thing. So, to backtrack a little bit to your sentiment of you think staying in the U.S., you're far more likely to get shot. You know, man.
Here's the thing. Is something bad going to happen to you? It might happen in any country, but...
All I can say is anything can happen to us. You can get shot. You can die of cancer. You can get diabetes.
Car accident.
Car accident. Because
that's what happened to you.
Yeah, it did happen to me. Anything can happen. And it can happen to you in any country.
And you can too.
With America having our guns as prevalent as they are, is there a greater chance? Sure. Yeah, maybe. But also in this country, you have a far likelier chance of getting diabetes because we just have crazy, ridiculous sizes on our Cokes and our sodas.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They are fantastic. But every country has their ups and downs. There are certainly things that we need to do better, and I think that we can do better, and I believe that we will.
So, I'm right, and you guys all agree with me. Perfect.
No, that's not at all what I'm saying.
I mean,
call my friend.
I mean, in the sense of, do I think that you're gonna go get shot next week? Oh boy,
God,
how do you
one
gotta
can
be
hope.
careful. I swear to God, if I end up being some like from prophetic,
A savant.
I'm gonna some sort of prophetic savant. I'm gonna feel like a fucking asshole.
What if I get shot right next to you?
I will point and laugh.
All right, guys.
First response will be, "Holy shit!" And then
poke it with a stick.
I've seen this done a lot of times in the movies. You have to put pressure, and I just jam my thumb into you. Stop crying, Jeff. What's wrong with you? Be a man. God.
Come on.
Fat.